welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a foundation review and wear test. I am going to be trying out the new Dolce Gabbana. This is the Blueberry NUTRI Tint Hydra Glow and Fresh Skin Tint. So I recently hauled this when I went to America, picked up some beauty products. This one really intrigued me. I've really been interested in Dolce Gabbana as a luxury makeup brand as of recently. So I'm going to be trying this out today. I'll be doing a application, just pulling you in, showing you how it wears in real time. Then I will be doing a check-in outside in natural daylight around halfway through my day, inserting in some swatches just to show you this shade that I have, which is 7N compared to other skin tints in my collection. And then finally coming back at the very end of the night and just showing you how this skin tint wears and my overall first impression thoughts. So if that sounds good to you, if you like foundation videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, I'm gonna pull you in closer and we're just gonna get started applying this foundation and talking about the details. All right. So if you're new to my foundation reviews, I don't like to use any kind of primer when doing my wear test the first time. I like to just go in with my skincare. So I do have just my normal skincare, moisturizer, sunscreen, and let's just get started. This was the overwhelming response of the product you wanted to see after I did my purchases in an Empties video. I'll link that video up above, but this was the one you guys wanted to see. So this is what I'm going to test first. I picked up the shade 07N and we're going to see how that shade match goes. But here's what the box looks like. This retails for $52 US and it comes in 30 shades. I only saw this online, so shade matching was a little bit tough. I'm a little bit nervous on how this is going to go. But here's what the bottle looks like. I do really like the bottle. It's 1 fluid ounce, but it's nice and sleek. It's nice and compact. For a skin tint, this is my preferred method. It does, I believe, have like a dropper. Yes, so like a dropper style application. And it does say to shake it well and use your fingers. So that's how I'm going to apply it while I just kind of talk about the product. It's supposed to be a sheer buildable coverage with a glowy finish. I mean, hydration is the main thing that they talk about with this product. And it looks darker on my finger than it does in the bottle. So this might actually not be too bad. It says to only put a couple drops on your finger and then blend it in. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't wanna put too much on. We're just gonna see how this goes. It kind of reminded me, all the claims reminded me of the Lisa Eldridge, just on how it's supposed to be blurring, but perfecting the skin. And then their big thing is the Italian blueberries. That is why it's called the Blueberry NUTRI Tint. And that is supposed to really provide the hydration. It's supposed to give you 24 hours of hydration. And like most just high-end luxury skin tints, improve your skin over time. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I don't feel like I got my chin there. So I'm just gonna, how can I show you? Do like a little bit more. It doesn't really come out in drops. So it's hard to only put a couple drops on. The shade doesn't seem to be terrible. It does feel nice and lightweight. Kind of just feels like a skincare product. That's why I was really just thinking it was going to be similar to the Lisa Eldridge. And I think the Lisa Eldridge is $49, so it's not that much more expensive if you're deciding between the two. Here's kind of what it's looking like. I'm not expecting to see too much coverage since it is sheer buildable, and even then, like, sheer buildable, how buildable are we going to be able to get it? It does look nice though. Let's see if it's actually blurring. It is blurring. It actually did blur my pores more than I thought. It's not sitting in them at all. The shade match worked out well. Luckily, I tend to get pretty lucky shade matching online. Sometimes I can get it wrong, but not by much. I can make it work, but this is a pretty good shade match. I'm surprised. 30 shades also, I thought was pretty decent for a skin tint, especially from a luxury brand. Eldridge, not to continue to compare it, just that was one of the last skin tints that I tried. I believe they only had 18 shades, and I did not do well shade matching with that one. It was a little bit light, might be more of like a summer or a winter, and then this one can be more of like my summer skin tint. But I actually really like how this looks more than the Eldridge off the bat. I just feel like it's set down more, like my skin actually has a little bit more coverage than the Eldridge, and I also think it just feels more like something. I'm gonna stop talking about the Eldridge, I've decided, because this is not like a battle or comparison video. On the foundation, it just is, it's very setting. It's not as glowy as I was thinking. I was really thinking this was gonna be like a highlighty skin tint, and that made me nervous. That's not my preferred method. I really enjoy just a more natural matte, a natural finish, but I would rather it be more matte than ultra glowy. I just feel like with ultra glowy products that we've seen in the past, it seems like that trend's dying down, but they were so glowy, and then once your oils came through, like it would just be melting off my face, and I didn't like that look. So I prefer something that's more natural. I still want glow. I don't want to be ultra matte, but I like to be able to like really set it. And then as the day progresses, my like inner glow comes through. I do have normal leaning dry skin. I don't have, you know, too many blemishes most of the time. I'll still get the occasional one here or there, but that's my skin type, normal leaning dry. So I think that that gives like a good baseline as far as testing out foundations. Other than that though, yeah, like just even trying to like blend it in, it's set pretty quickly. And it's, you know, I don't even know if I would consider this sheer. I think I would consider it a sheer to light. Not as sheer as I was thinking it was going to be off of just like initially reading what this was about. Anyways, I'm going to go off camera now, finish up my makeup, see how this kind of settles in, plays with other products, and I will be back to just give my first impression thoughts on this foundation. Rest of my makeup is on, and I have to say that I really, really love how this is looking so far. I haven't had like a good first impression like this where it's exceeding my expectations off the bat in a while. I did set just my concealer under my eyes and in my T-zone here. I didn't set my cheeks because I feel like this really self-sets by itself. I did, however, use powder products. Everything that I'm wearing is always listed in the description box below if you're ever curious on specifics. I did at least want to mention the highlight that I'm using because this is the Dolce Gabbana highlight, and I bought this in holiday, I want to say, mainly for the packaging. It's part of like their Devotion collection. They came out with a fragrance and everything. The embossing is so beautiful. And I loved this product so much when I did a video on it that this is what really pushed me to want to try the skin tint. And I have zero regrets. I'm just really impressed with Dolce Gabbana so far, only trying 2 brands and still not completing this wear test. I mean, I could be completely eating my words at the end of the night here, but if all goes well, I hesitated picking up the blush and the bronzer. I really, really wanted to, but they're still, you know, pretty expensive, $50, $55 each. So I wasn't wanting to spend $100 on more complexion products. If this goes well though, I probably will, and then do like a full face of Dolce Gabbana. But this luxury makeup line here is really just impressing me so far. It is providing some glow, but a lot less than I think that they advertise. They really advertise like the glow from within, radiance, hydration. It feels hydrating and lightweight, but I will say if you're someone who wants a glow, you probably won't like this, which is why I do like it. I'm finding it to be just like that perfect finish of when I first apply my makeup, and then hopefully throughout the day, like that inner oil will come through and give me that glow that I'm wanting. So that's why I'm just appreciating this so much. I just think it looks really nice on my skin right now. I will say after I put on the rest of my products, this isn't sheer. This is a light coverage, not even close to sheer. Maybe I applied too much because I went in twice with foundation. I mean, you saw me apply it, so maybe it's just too much and I need to go in with less to make it more sheer. But right now, I'm considering this a light coverage foundation. The only other thing I wanted to point out is using fingers is not my favorite method. If you've been on my channel, you know that. And usually regardless, if I use my fingers, I'll go over it with a sponge. And I didn't do that this time. You would have seen it, obviously. So this is one I think that actually, because it self-sets so quickly, if I had used a sponge after going in with my fingers, it probably would have looked worse. The moisture would have made it patchy. I don't know, I didn't try it, but that's kind of my assumption. It blended by itself, so I didn't feel the need to go in with a sponge, and I just felt like that was worth noting. So that's really what I have right now on the application process. So I'm gonna go about my day. I have a lot of just outside work to do, a lot just on my plate right now. It's just a busy month now that the weather's finally warm and sunny. I can just knock off things off my list that need to be done outside. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will check back in with you all in about 4 hours. All right, it's been about 5 hours now, and I've been outside for most of the time, so I am very happy with how this is holding up. The foundation skin tint hasn't moved pretty much at all. I am looking quite shiny, not too shiny where I just look super greasy, but I mean on my chin here, on my forehead, I definitely have some glow coming out. I'm really just surprised like at the staying power of this foundation. I wasn't expecting it to not move and really have the properties of a matte foundation where it just really stays down. That's where I'm just pleasantly surprised, honestly. I went into this thinking it was going to be a completely different type of product, and it's proving me wrong. So I'm not going to dwindle too long, but I mean, I think right now it looks really nice on my skin for 5 hours. I would be completely happy, like if I was out in public right now and not just outside, with how this looks. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna insert in my swatches now, just comparing the shade that I have to some other shades if you are trying to figure out what your shade is. And then I will see you at the end of the day in another 4 or 5 hours here. It's now 9 o'clock, so I've had this foundation on for about 10 hours now, and it looks like it. I don't do any touch-ups throughout the day, which is extremely difficult when you just look this shiny, but I have to say, for looking this shiny, the foundation could look worse. And by that I mean I was outside honestly for most of the day. It was around like 80 degrees today, and I was shoveling rocks into a wheelbarrow, then moving the wheelbarrow into a different, and then dumping out the rocks all day long. So for what I put this foundation through, I think that it could look a lot worse. It has not budged. It hasn't broken apart. Other than looking shiny, this looks pretty perfect. I'm gonna just take my sponge and kind of tap it out to see how it looks if I was to just touch up the super greasy spots. But overall, I mean, I am just thoroughly impressed with this, and it might just go from my expectations going into this. Like I said, when I was applying this, I was kind of expecting this to be a Lisa Eldridge type of product because they advertised it as sheer. They talked about all the skincare ingredients with it. And the packaging is also very similar. That also kind of gave me that idea, but this is nothing like that at all. The Lisa Eldridge is really just going to give you like just a hint, the lightest hint of coverage. This is decent coverage. I wouldn't say that it's a sheer coverage. We already went over that. I would say it's a light coverage. I teeter on calling it a skin tint. I think that skin tint is something that people use, companies use when there's skincare infused in it. So maybe that's why they're calling it a skin tint. To me, I would not advertise this as a skin tint, but I just love this. I'm gonna zoom in now that I've just touched this up a little bit. You can see the foundation nice up close and personal on just how it's looking. I mean, you can still see my complexion products 10 hours later. Like, I think that's pretty good because most of the time I can tell you, 90% of the time I'm not shoveling rocks when doing a foundation wear test. So I really put this one through the ringer and I can't believe how this looks. I think this is gonna rank very high when I do a foundation roundup. And right now it's kind of battling the Fenty Eaze drops for me. If you saw that video, I'll link it up above where I did a wear test on that. I really enjoyed that foundation. And I think that this is, I would say, a very close dupe for that foundation skin tint type product. If you like that, you're almost out of it, want to try a luxury product, I would maybe go with this one, would be my recommendation. Or if you're deciding between the two, there's obviously other factors. I think some differences between them is that the Fenty is a little bit more oil controlling and it's a smidge more matte. Whereas this, I did have more oils coming through from the end of the day, but it also just feels more comfortable. And I feel like this looks more natural on the skin than the Fenty Eaze drops. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Have you heard of this foundation? Did you see it launched? Were you intrigued? I'm like debating. Let me know what you think down below. Like, should I pick up the rest of the products that I don't have in order to do a full face of Dolce & Gabbana makeup? Because I think that would be really fun. And I just haven't been disappointed by a product from them yet. Every product, I mean the two products, I'm saying every product, like I've tried tens of them, but both of these, not only did I like them, but I really, really love them, like top tier. So I'm kind of thinking I want to do that. Maybe not right away. It'll be a fun, maybe holiday video or something like that. If you want to like treat yourself during holiday, that's, coming up sooner than I would like to think. But I think this is where I'm going to leave you all. Hopefully you found the swatches helpful, the wear test helpful, and it kind of gave you an idea of whether or not you want to pick up this skin tint. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, but I hope you're having a good one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.